me just catch up for anybody that's just jumping in here and does not know about the Cenz man. Boy, like to describe his style, I mean, on various mediums across the city, the stylistic, colourful, photographic, yet almost got this kind of blaxploitation poster-looking crazy graffiti style. That I'm commercialising it here, but you know what I'm saying. It's got a real identity and a real tone and depth to it. You've seen the pictures at the start. If you're watching a video, you know the deal. Where did it all begin, now, brother? Where did it all begin for you?
Well, I mean, if we go way back, even before Graff, I was always into art, but there was nothing that ever kind of clicked. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was very blessed. Like my parents were into art as well, and it took me to galleries and stuff. This is like when I was like super young. Do you know what I mean? But and nothing really. I liked it, and I was scribbling around the house, but nothing really kind of grabbed me. And then obviously, we're talking early mid '80s, and then obviously we have the classic story, the Bible, Subway art book comes along, which transforms so many people's careers across Europe. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, wow, you see that book? It's like, this is it. You know what I mean?
This changes everything.
This changes everything, and then obviously it wasn't just the book, it was the music. Starting to listen to Mike Allen on Capital Radio, and it's like, what is the music? It's the whole culture, isn't it? It's the whole culture.
When he says Mike Allen, we already know the caliber that we're talking about here. This is like the levels. We're only dealing levels here,
So it was just everything, man. It was just so fresh and original, the whole culture. You know what I mean? So there was nothing like it. So that was it, that was it. And then, as you know, with hip hop, people chose their path. You were either, you're like, I'm going to be a DJ, I'm going to be a dancer. Yeah. And obviously I was into art anyway. So I was like, right, I'm a graffiti artist. That's it. That's my thing. Do you know what I mean? So, and then that was it, man. And then once I started, messing around with cans, I was just obsessed with aerosol art, I suppose. Do you know what I mean? It was like just messing around with cans, different techniques and stuff. That was my thing, It was, some people were like, right, I'm into the bombing. My thing was, so when I say graffiti, I call myself a graffiti artist rather than a writer.
That's the ticket.
Yeah, because I was more interested in doing full pieces, full colour. Do you know what I mean? There were things that really, it was like, I want to do that. I want to do letters, characters, everything, backgrounds. Yeah. You know what I mean? I want. So even from an early age, I was always trying techniques and always trying to, like mastering the shine and stuff like that. So my work's always been about techniques. Do you know what I mean? Which, if you look at my stuff now, you can see.
Yeah, so 1,000%. So many questions, man. I've got so many questions. So that's why
it's always been about the art of the spray can, which I've been really focused on. Do you know what I mean?
For sure. When you right, again, I've got a lot of questions here on this, specifically tailored to you. All right. So when you adopt a certain medium like graph, and I'm only asking you this because of like I said, the contrast and depth and styles that you bring. It's almost like you're using the spray can. It's like going from acoustic to electric. And you're experimenting with the different parameters within the use of paint in the same way a guitarist would. He would fuck with the amp, give the amp some distance to the mic, turn up the fucking gains on the amp. Then you got all the kind of knobs and buttons and wah-wahs, etc. You're doing it in the same context. You're using various techniques that create that atmospheric background. Then you're getting really into the details of like, was this like a transferable skill that you had seen growing up, going to these exhibitions, or was it anything that you were doing at school that you were like, I can do that with spray paint?
No, not really. There wasn't one particular artist or one particular thing that I'd seen. It was, I was always interested in looking at lots of different artists and kind of techniques. So, which was an issue because there were so many, there was obviously, if I look back now, there's still similarities, like I was always when I was doing, I found some outlines the other day from like super early outlines from when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and there was still little bits in there, like like the oh man, I'm trying to think what it was, but just like the details and the really straight lines and so there's little bits that have continued through, in my art career, but really it's just about because there was a point where I did everything, I was like doing realism, then I could do wild styles, and what do they say? Kind of, Mark, what's the kind of that saying about being?
I'm not going to say it on this podcast, but I know what you mean because it's not fucking true.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. So, and I never really found my thing, So then my style was basically all of a sudden just combining all of those influences and experiences together, and they just clicked together like a melting pot, and it just all of a sudden it just worked.
And again, going back to what people go through in their creative journey, a lot of people don't have those kind of epiphanies like that, where all of a sudden, synergy brings all these elements that you're fond of or really good at. Yeah. And it happens.
Yeah.
What was that like when you suddenly were like, "Oh, this is the platform for me. This is the medium for me," and I couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, when I first started, doing the faces, I mean, I'd always been interested in portraits, but they're difficult, man. Do you know what I mean? I remember when I first, I'd been doing pieces for a long time, and my pieces were pretty abstract. Do you know what I mean? They were pretty crazy, my wild style pieces, man. You know what I mean?
The ones I've seen over the years, symmetrical.
There was a lot of symmetry. Yeah, there was a lot of symmetry going on and stuff.
A lot of heavy use of patterns and just
love
all that. Love it.
Yeah. But it was quite a niche thing. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of people were like, "Whoa," they just couldn't get their heads around it. Do you know what I mean? It was almost too advanced.
You couldn't.
Do you know what I mean?
Entirely.
It was almost too advanced.
Yeah. You had to know the style of the
yeah. But that's what wild style's about, anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Standard.
You need to know the culture. That's what I love. That's what I love about wild style.
It's like it's a code.
To read it, it's a code. Exactly.
Love it.
So that's why that was always my thing. Do you know what I mean? But it was so far. It was so futuristic and so out there. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I got to the point where I was like, just wanted a bit more appreciation. I thought I've got to try something a little bit different. Do you know what I mean? But still keeping that element, you know what I mean? Still keeping that. So I started doing the faces, and then having the kind of wild style letters in the background, and and then and then one day, someone said to me, "Shit, man," goes, that's different, man. Yeah. You need to stick with that. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, okay, and that was it. Just needed someone to tell me. They saw it on the street, and they were like, "Whoa, that's crazy." You know what I mean? Yeah. You got something there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that was it. And then after that, I was like, right, okay, well, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it. When somebody, it's like, all right. And then that was it. Yeah. Then it just started blowing up, man. I just started painting loads and loads. I was painting on the street in London like 2-3 times a week. I was going crazy for a few years, man. Yeah. And that's what you got to do.
You got to put it in.
That's what you got to do. You got to put the work in, man. Yeah. People always say that to me. Oh, how did you get to that level? It's like, just work.
Yeah.
It's just simple, just hard work. Ain't no shortcut again, man. You just got to put the graft in, man. You know what I mean?
The amount of times, that is like that's that 70%. It's the work rate. It's how far you turn it around. Because talent is subjective, but quantity is undeniable, right?
Yeah.